This is Reno Leveson, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com. My wife Julie, who's director of the Lakeshore Music Studio, and I were on hand Friday, January 27th, 2023, at Lighthouse ArtSpace to celebrate the 267th birthday of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, which included a sneak peek kickoff of the newest experiential exhibit, Mozart Immersive, The Soul of a Genius. Before the doors opened to the general public and V.I.P. guests, I had an opportunity to record an exclusive interview with the production's musical director, Maestro Constantine Orbelian, which you will hear shortly. By the way, the musical lead-in that you just heard was a live recording of Mozart's Eine kleine Nacht music, performed as a duet by Julie and her teaching associate Edith Gwynn Smith at a recent Lakeshore Music Studio recital. Once the festivities began for the Lighthouse ArtSpace Mozart birthday party, VIP guests were treated to complimentary flutes of Prosecco and delicious bite-sized pieces of Eli's cheesecake. Hey, what's a birthday party without a cake? Past ArtSpace presentations have featured the works of visual artists such as Van Gogh and Frida Kahlo. The unusual multimedia exhibits employ cutting-edge projection techniques to create a 360-degree immersive visual experience. This particular Mozart presentation is the first to feature a musician, requiring the producers to partner with an expert creative team to craft dreamlike 18th century-inspired imagery.
Yeah, I'm Will Gaudet with Carol Fox & Associates, and I am a publicist working on the Lighthouse ArtSpace Chicago account. So the full name is Mozart Immersive, The Soul of a Genius, and it's the newest offering from Lighthouse Immersive, the same company behind Immersive Van Gogh, Immersive Frida Kahlo, and a lot of other immersive experiences. And this one's going to be exclusive to Chicago, so it's not planned to go anywhere else now. It's quite an exclusive experience, and this is also one of the first projection shows where the music is the starting point and the visuals are crafted around it, whereas in the past we've sort of seen a lot of artists and their work and their life that have been the subject of these experiences. And this one, it's really music that you start with, and they created visuals around it. And they were using Midjourney AI, which is a AI image generator, to create the visuals for it. They sort of used it as a tool, taking the music and considering themselves what prompts to use to try to generate images that would match. So the show premieres on March 10th, and tickets are on sale now at MozartImmersive.com.
Mozart Immersive will have its world premiere here in Chicago, March 10th, 2023, at the Lighthouse ArtSpace on the corner of Clark and Germania Place, with no immediate plans for the exhibit to travel to other cities. All the more reason to be sure to check it out now. Terry Hemmert of WXRT Radio acted as host and MC for the birthday bash, with live music by the Ryan Center Ensemble featuring basso vocalist William Clay Thompson singing an aria from Don Giovanni, with Chris Reynolds on piano. The excellent young singer and pianist duo were followed by an expert chamber ensemble comprised of 4 string players from the music of the Baroque, performing 2 Mozart compositions, the ever-popular Eine kleine Nacht music and Divertimento in D major. From the first attack of the first chord, we knew we were in for something special. The experiential projected images at times thoughtfully incorporated the monochromatically painted architectural interior features of the former Germania Club that is home to the ArtSpace. For instance, the inside frames of what had once been actual windows to the outside were replaced by projected vintage images of the Austrian countryside, adding to the enjoyment of the string ensemble by transporting us back in time to a place that might have hosted an elegant soiree, perhaps in a stately home or castle of one of Mozart's benefactors. The final production will be a kind of retrospective of the highlights of the short life of Mozart, who died from a sudden illness at the age of just 35. The program integrates video reenactments with live actors alongside the animation. Many will be delighted to see legendary dancer and actor Mikhail Baryshnikov in the heart-rending role of Mozart's father, Leopold, who is credited for launching Mozart's early career. He then became estranged from his son later in life. Constantine Orbelian, music director and principal conductor of the New York City Opera, joined Terry on stage to discuss the production. The music arranged by composer Luca Longobardi that will accompany the Mozart Immersive production was recorded by the Lithuanian Kaunas City Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Maestro Orbelian, where he is chief conductor. Let's take a listen to my conversation with the maestro. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer with Chicago Broadcasting Network, and I'm here talking to Constantine Orbelian, who is the
music director and principal conductor.
Okay, music director and principal conductor in New York Opera Company?
New York City Opera.
New York City Opera, yes. Today we're here to talk about the immersive Mozart experience, and Maestro Orbelian is the music director for this program. He's going to talk to us about that experience. So if you would begin maybe just by telling me a little bit about what's your life like, during the opera season and then when you're off season, and what do you do with yourself?
Well, I mean, what can I possibly say? The musician's life is we're traveling salesmen in our own ways. And I'm also, besides New York City Opera, I'm also the chief conductor in Kaunas, Lithuania. So in Lithuania, there's a fantastic orchestra in Lithuania, and I did a lot of the recording for this particular show in Lithuania, in Kaunas, with my orchestra there. So this, it's a wonderful opportunity to do this incredible Mozart music, and also the original compositions based on the music of Mozart by Luca Lamborghini, who's the music director. Actually, he's one, and Massimiliano, and I forgot his name, the guy who does the video.
Yes. Okay.
So the two Italian fantastic geniuses who put these shows together. So we've been working together with them, and then editing and all of those things. So we have some. I mean, what couldn't be better than the music of Mozart?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the process. So you mentioned the two gentlemen who are involved with both the arranging of the music and also the creation of the artwork and video. Absolutely important to the whole production, right? So how does this work? Did they send you the images? Did you have a video? Who does the timing? Do you do the timing? Do they do the timing? How does all that work?
They told me exactly what I need to record, because I haven't seen the video. I have not seen it yet. So I'll see a snippet of it today with all of us, today, at this press opening, and then we'll see the whole thing in a month when it actually opens up.
Okay.
So I have not seen it, seen anything. I'm very intrigued myself. I mean, it's when you do an immersive Van Gogh, you understand that they're going to be doing, using the paintings. What do you do with Mozart? I mean, there's just
absolutely.
I'm very intrigued to see how they do this show, which is the music of a genius. I'm just very interested.
Yeah, and that's fascinating to me because I was wondering if you were sitting there watching the video and sort of like timing it kind of like overdubbing like you might do for a film.
That would have been really fun, but I was never given that opportunity.
Okay.
So it's all a proprietary secret as
wow. I think that's pretty exciting. Okay. So some of the questions I ask you may not really might be a little bit of a mystery to you yourself, because I was saying as a video creator, I do video. So one of the things that happens for me is when I lay the music on, something magical happens. All of a sudden, everything seems to tie together. The music really creates a through line that brings the whole production together, And we often say music drives the video, So I was going to ask you, but I'm not sure if you have the answer to this. I was going to ask you, what do you think the images bring to the music? do you have an opinion about that, or
I don't know what the images are. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm just as intrigued as you are because, again, I saw the other shows. I saw the Frida Kahlo show. I saw the Van Gogh show. I saw a couple of the other things that they've been doing, but I have never seen this. So I don't know. I would love to tell you, but
okay.
I can't spill any beans.
Maybe we'll get together again in a month after this is actually going.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things. My wife, Julie, who I've introduced you to, is here with us, is the director of the Lakeshore Music Studio, and she's a pianist. And very often she'll say to me, these kids bring in classical pieces that they've heard while playing a video game. And so it's interesting that video games are, introducing young people to classical music.
Well, thank goodness. Somebody is.
Exactly.
Or something is.
So this experience is also using technology to introduce people to, to maybe they're not familiar with Mozart. Many people who come to this, I think, it may be something new to them.
Sure.
So where do you think technology and this whole idea of visual arts fits into the future scheme of concerts as we go forward? I mean, do you think there'll be a day when we'll be projecting images on the concert hall ceiling as we go to see it, or what's the future of the concert hall?
They use video projections in opera all the time now. And, as we know, there are films that, you see with the original film, and then a live orchestra is playing the music. So we have that component already quite a bit. This summer, for instance, I'm doing Don Pasquale in opera in Napa, and this fantastic director who does, in particular, is video
backgrounds.
Jean-Romain Vesperini does a brilliant job of bringing all of this to life, and it's all you need is the LED screen and a couple of pieces of furniture, so you're not dragging huge sets anywhere and all that sort of thing.
Well, and it adds a new dimension.
And you can it's easily mobile. See, that's the good thing. I mean, the days of transporting huge sets across the ocean and all that sort of thing, I think, are going away.
Well, it was the technology of the day.
Yeah, sure.
And as a video producer myself, it's very exciting, and I do get a chance to see the opera here, and when we do have video projections here and at various theater productions, I find that really interesting.
Yeah,
so,
it opens up a new dimension.
Yeah, I'm glad you get to look up and see it every now and then.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Not just stuck down in the pit with no idea what's going on upstairs, right? I was going to ask you a little bit about the future of artificial intelligence, since this is a technology program, and interestingly, the PR people here have made a point of saying that they've used artificial intelligence to create much of the visual imagery that we will eventually see. Do you have any opinion about artificial intelligence as it pertains to music and music creation?
It's totally fascinating, and to see what one can create. I mean, obviously a person creates that artificial intelligence mechanism in the technology, but to see how that then feeds on itself is absolutely fascinating. I think we see that in not only in music, but in medical research and all kinds of things. I mean, the way that things progress with biology even, and those things when the computer can actually find the reasons for certain diseases to exist because they can do it much quicker than any person could in a petri dish, right?
Yeah.
But here you have you have the genius of a genius of the creative thing that someone's born with, right? So you can't replace that. Mm-hmm. So I'd be hard pressed to say that we're going to get another Mozart out of a computer.
I imagine I tend to be more with you than not in this particular case, but I think there are people who would argue with us to say, hey, that's exactly what artificial intelligence is about.
Well, we'll see.
And we'll see, exactly.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just for fun, though, it makes me think that, do you do anything electronically yourself? I mean, you don't?
No.
Okay. Because, one of the things that's real popular with sports people today is to, create a dream team baseball team or football team or something, I wondered if you had any thoughts about creating a dream team, if you could pick any of your musicians from the last 75 years and be able to, create it digitally. Does that intrigue you, or
I'd like
leave
to,
it for
I'd like
someone
to
else?
Experiment, sure. It sounds like an interesting project. Again, I don't know what I'd come up with and how long-lasting that particular piece would be. So, again,
it would be
here,
kind of
here
fun.
we're looking at Bach and Beethoven and, again, Mozart that we're here to see today, and this music is there forever.
Yeah. So that's a great segue into you're a pianist, and so what's your personal relationship with Mozart?
Well, my personal relationship is that it's incredibly difficult to play Mozart well. That I can tell you for a fact. I played many of the piano concertos, and of course some piano sonatas and various other works, and I must have played the certain concerti that you can do just with strings. I must have done them, a few hundred times around the world when I was conducting the Moscow Chamber Orchestra. So I was living in Russia and touring with the orchestra. We were doing 50 concerts a year here in the United States. And anyway, I have a lot of recordings of all, Mozart adagios and then Mozart various other works, and so it's genius. You play it and you thought, how did somebody come up with that?
Yeah.
And then you look at how did he actually write all of that music down for that short span of his lifetime. And
Yeah.
then, let's face it, if he started writing at age 15, I don't think he was, he couldn't have been 2 or 3. Maybe he was writing something, but but the amount of music these people produced,
Yeah.
it's I still can't understand exactly how he found the time to do that. And if you look at those scores, it's very rare that there's a note out of place if you look at the original manuscripts. So it's really an amazing feat.
Yeah. Do you remember your first Mozart piano piece? This is for
Yes.
Julie. This is for Julie's students. They want to hear you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, the little Mozart variations on Vous dirigez maman,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that, I
They're
think
not
that,
so little.
That's right. Yeah, I remember playing that. And it must have been something else when I was like 5 years old. But that I've even played. There's a Waxman, I think, was it Donald Waxman or somebody did an orchestral accompaniment to that, and I played that a number of times with orchestra when I was a little kid. But anyway, yeah.
Well, it's nice for people to hear that you start out young and you progress as you get.
That's right.
you learn, and Mozart's there with you every step of the way, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, as a conductor, does Mozart present any particular challenges to the orchestra?
Again,
different than anyone else? Or?
Not particularly. You have to sometimes correct. Thankfully, when I was in Russia, I would kind of correct stylistic things that may have been a little bit, a longer bow, for instance, that they would use in a more old-fashioned style. Mozart isn't Baroque, so it's a completely different thing. But sometimes the older group, even if you listen to old Leopold Stokowski recordings and things like that, they play it in a more heavy manner. I think it's much more buoyant and lively, as Mozart, I believe, was, at least from those various snippets of his life that we do know, and remembrances of various people. So,
yeah. Here, I'm communicating with the Chicago audience. My one question is, I know you grew up in San Francisco.
Yes.
And are you currently living in New York, or do you?
I live in New York and in San Francisco.
And in San Francisco, okay. And have you been to Chicago before?
Oh, many times.
Many times.
I've
okay.
performed here a number of times.
Great. And what do you think of the city? Do you have any?
I love Chicago. I love Chicago, and I love Orchestra Hall. And one of my great comrades and artists that I worked with for 20 years was the wonderful baritone Dmitri Kvorostovsky. And so we performed probably 3 or 4 times at Orchestra Hall. And it was just always a wonderful experience. I toured a lot with him.
Great. And any favorite places here aside from Orchestra Hall that you like to visit?
And the many restaurants. I won't mention which ones, but
Any good Armenian restaurants that you know of?
I'm sure there are. As a matter of fact, I was hoping that some of my Armenian friends would come to be in Chicago at the time, but some of them are out of town today. They'll be back for the actual opening, which is, I'm not even sure exactly which date it is, but I think it's like a couple of 3 weeks or something like that.
I'm surprised I don't have the answer to that question, but I often say can travel the world in Chicago. We have so many ethnic restaurants, and I'm sure there's some good Armenian ones.
Oh, yeah.
The last question, which maybe you can answer, I don't know. Do you think there's any way that people should prep if they're going to come and see this? Is there anything maybe they should know ahead of time? And what do you think people should take away from this? I guess you can say from the musical aspect, if not from the whole experience.
All the music is, of course, genius, and it's some of the most famous pieces of Mozart that are going to be presented in this show. And then you'll see, what music Luca has morphed into his composition. So you'll hear a little bit of Eine kleine Nachtmusik. You'll hear a little bit of something else. You'll hear something else. So you'll have this opportunity to whet your appetite, so to speak, for more of an immersive personal experience with Mozart. Once you actually see this, and it will, I'm sure, generate a lot of wonderful stuff in your imagination, and you take it from there. It's all up to the person themselves.
Great.
Such a fabulous place. What a wonderful venue.
Yeah, this is the old Germania Club.
Germania Club, and great venue, great place, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the show, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
This was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun just to spend some time. Tickets are on sale now at MozartImmersive.com. Lighthouse ArtSpace Chicago is at 108 West Germania Place off Clark Street, just 1 block south of North Avenue. If you're interested in making music of your own, consider piano lessons at the Lakeshore Music Studio at Sandburg Village, just 1 block away from the Lighthouse ArtSpace, serving the Old Town, Gold Coast, Lincoln Park area. As always, if you need audio or video assistance for your business or organization, check out renoweb.net. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer of ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com, reminding you to please take a moment to like, share, or subscribe to this podcast if you enjoyed this episode. Also, go ahead and click on one of the other episodes, such as the Gold Coast Walking Tour or the interview with Mark and Sarah Mosley, co-directors of the Windy City Winds. Let's go ahead and let Julie and Edith from the Lakeshore Music Studio close out this episode with a little more of their Mozart duet.